It's with heavy hearts that we report the death of Soul Train author Don Cornelius. Today, at age 75, he died in Los Angeles of what looked like a suicide. Soul Train wasn't just a TV show. It was a way of life. Every show had big lights, smooth moves, and famous music. On the weekends, it brought black culture, soul, and style into American living rooms. Even though everyone smiled and danced, not everything was great. They didn't want you to see one part of the show at all because it was so crazy and out of the blue. It wasn't just a mistake. This shook the show to its core. Some people even say it helped bring it down. What did really happen that day on that stage? When did the show end, and why did it never come back? Come with us as we talk about the dirty scene that Soul Train tried to hide, the chaos it caused behind the scenes, and how it changed the show's future for good. The start of a movement in culture, Soul Train was more than just a TV show. It was something unique. Black music style and tradition are truly celebrated. In the middle of the 1960s, it all began in Chicago. There were dance shows like Kitty A Go-Go and Red Hot and Blues on WCIU, a neighborhood TV station. Most of the dancers in this show were African American, which made it a big hit. That's where the thought for Soul Train first came from. People said that Soul Train was to American bands what champagne is to soda. Don Cornelius worked at a radio station in Chicago and also put on live music events at high schools in the area. He named these events the Soul Train. Both Cornelius and the crowd loved it. He thought that black music and artists should be shown on TV. That dream came true soon after. Soul Train first aired on WCIU on August 17, 1970. It had a small budget and black and white cameras. It was a live show in the afternoon. Jerry Butler, the Chi-Lites, and the Emotions were in the first show. It was simple at first, but it had heart, which is what made it work. A lively local dancer named Clinton Gent helped Cornelius run the event before going behind the scenes. But that was just the beginning. There was going to be something bigger. Okay, let's look at the host. Who made the show fun before we talk about that? The show that changed everything. Soul Train wasn't just a show. It was something that people did every week. People would wait for that famous theme song to play every Saturday in front of their TVs. For many, it was an important part of their week. Soul Train was fun to watch because of the bright lights, smooth dance moves, and cool host. There was more to it than just fun. It brought black dress, music, and culture to the attention of people all over the country. People saw themselves in the middle of the screen, not in the background. The show also started lives. It's where stars like Jody Watley and Rosie Perez began their careers. And Soul Train stayed on the air longer than any other show of its kind. But Don Cornelius was there in the background. He wasn't just the host, he planned everything. People will always remember how cool Cornelius was. He was calm, smooth, and serious. Fans all over the country dressed up in 1970s clothes and danced to honor him when he died in 2012. That moment showed how much people loved Soul Train. How did Cornelius get the idea? Though what made it grow into something so strong? The beginning of a story. He was born in Chicago and raised there. His style was even stronger than his speech. He worked as a radio DJ and news writer before Soul Train. He also held dance parties at different high schools in the city. They were known as the Soul Train. He would bring music with him on the train as he went to different parts of Chicago. That's where the name came from. Cornelius finally got the chance to air his show on a neighborhood TV station. The space was small at first, and the sets were very simple and black and white. But there was real excitement. Fans at home felt like they were a part of something new because the dancers brought each song to life. Nelson George wrote The Hippest Trip in America, which is a book about those early days. He said that every Saturday morning in Brooklyn, he and his sister would watch TV. At first, it was just a black and white screen. After that, they got a small color one. They'd pay close attention to the moves. After school or at a block party that night, everyone would try to do what they saw. A lot of different cultures came together as George put it. It wasn't just music at the show. People learned how to dress, dance, and even style their hair. The big hair, bright colors, and California style made their way into homes all over the country. Not only did it bring happiness, but it also brought people together. But it also came at a very important time for change in America. A new voice for Black life and art. The country was still recovering from the 1960s when Soul Train began in 1971. The country was shook by civil rights riots. For the first time, black people were chosen mayor of big cities. Equal rights were still being fought for. Soul Train came into that world. But it didn't show pain or effort, it showed happiness. It was proud, and it showed happiness. The screen was full of black music, fashion, and excitement. People felt like they were seen. It made homes that didn't always get a break from bad news more fun. It changed business too. Big businesses saw how powerful the show was. They slowly started to put ads on Soul Train. A lot of black people saw ads that spoke directly to them for the first time. Never had that really happen before. It proved Soul Train wasn't just well known, but also strong. All of this was made possible by Don Cornelius. His calm mood and smooth voice made him stand out. I'm Don Cornelius, and as always, we wish you love and happiness at the party. It is said that he told James Brown, "You're still the baddest out here." The man laughed and said that he was just dancing along with them. He looked at the crowd and asked, "How about the Soul Train dancers?" A lot of people cheered at that point. He always seemed calm and in charge. Michelle Martin of NPR once said, "He never broke a sweat. No matter what was going on, from a local hit to a national star, he was like a pilot steering the ship." Cornelius wanted to take the show to more places because it did so well in Chicago. People who work for Johnson Products, the company that made Afro Sheen, helped him. They decided to pay for the show to be shown in more than one place. That meant that places other than Chicago could now show Soul Train. At first though, only 7 towns picked it up: Philadelphia, Atlanta, Birmingham, Cleveland, Detroit, Houston, Los Angeles, and New York City. That was enough, though people couldn't get enough of it after seeing it. The show was shown in all 25 target towns by the end of the first season. The magic was now everywhere. Back then, there weren't many shows made by black people for black people. Soul, a public TV show, was the only other one on national TV. That's why Soul Train changed everything. R&B, soul, and later hip-hop acts were able to perform their papas. It was wanted by everyone, from the biggest stars to up-and-coming artists. The show changed its home base to Los Angeles when it went national. At first, Cornelius led both the Chicago and LA shows, but soon he only focused on the national show. Clinton Gantz stayed in Chicago for a while to host, and after that, the station only showed old shows. Cornelius stayed as Soul Train's face, and for good reason. Fans will never forget what he said about love, peace, and soul. People told stories about that line for years, but fame came with stress, and more changes were on the way. A long run. With lots of changes, there was only one show of Soul Train that Don Cornelius did not host from 1971 to 1993. At the end of season 4, Richard Pryor hosted that one show. He was always there for the rest, though always in charge, calm, and easy to deal with. The show changed a lot around the middle of the 1980s. The deal for distribution was taken over by Tribune Entertainment. In other words, it was their job. To get the show on TV in more places, Cornelius kept hosting and coming up with new ideas for the show, and it kept getting bigger. While Cornelius did host for 22 seasons, he stopped in 1993. He still worked behind the scenes, but other people got the attention. There were a few times when different famous people led the show. After that, in 1997, a new host named Mesh Clark joined the show. In 2000, Shamar Moore came next, and in 2003, Dorian Gregory did. The show felt new after these changes, but some fans missed Cornelius. It was hard to find someone else who could connect with the crowd like he did. The show went on anyway, always going to people's homes to dance and play music. Also, Don Cornelius was more than just a host. He came up with the idea for Soul Train. Don Cornelius saw something. He spoke with a strong voice, dressed well, and was very smart about business. What set him apart was how well he knew the streets and the needs of black people in America. One author, Hanif Abdurraqib, said that Don didn't mind being out on the streets because he knew exactly what black people needed. He was cool in every way. Soul Train was cool because of his baritone voice, his hair, and the way he looked sure of himself. Erica Blanchenois, the author, said that Soul Train was cool, and mostly because Don was cool. Cornelius didn't just want to have fun, he also wanted to own a big business. Since 1971, Soul Train has been shown all over the country since it moved to Los Angeles. Don Cornelius was one of the first black guys to own and run a TV show that was shown all over the country. Picked whether to grow quickly or... But after years, some of them spoke out, and many fans were shocked by what they said. Hippo's Trip, the Soul Train show, which is going to Broadway, says that dancers were not treated fairly. Some said they didn't get paid at all. Instead, they were shown to people and, in some cases, served food from Kentucky Fried Chicken. That was it. One dancer said that the name of the show came from the sweat on our backs. Others who came up with famous dancers like the Harlem Shake said they didn't get anything in return either. It wasn't just about money, though different dancers were often put up against each other just to get more screen time. Some people had to fight to get the best spots on or near the stage. It was really tough. Even worse, it was said that Don Cornelius had inappropriate ties with some of the dancers while he was married. The Los Angeles Times wrote about these stories, which made the issue even worse. Behind the music and lights, it was clear that the show had major issues. Soul Train seemed clean and stylish to the outside world, but some people felt used and forgotten inside. This strain was a big part of the show's slow decline, and soon there was more trouble. This time, it was about the images from the show and who could share them. Rights and an audience that is changing lead to fights. Don Cornelius was very strict about how the show's clips were shared when he still owned Soul Train. Fans putting movies on sites like YouTube bothered him. Also, he didn't want anyone to sell old shows on DVD or VHS without his permission. Many of those videos were taken down because they broke copyright rules. That made it hard for younger fans who were used to watching everything online to find Soul Train shows. A change in the music was also going on at the same time for Cornelius. In its early years, the show was mostly about soul and R&B, but hip-hop took over in the 1980s and 1990s. Cornelius said he didn't understand the type of music. One time he told rapper Curtis Blow straight out that it wasn't something he felt. Linked with Hio later said that he was scared of groups like Public Enemy. It was clear he wasn't a fan, even though he still had rap acts on the show. Rosie Perez, a dancer and director, says that Cornelius also didn't like the East Coast dance styles. She said that he didn't like moves that were too sexy. He only added more hip-hop because lots of people liked it. People who had watched the show since the beginning were upset by that choice, though there was a lot of stress. In the end, Cornelius didn't feel like he belonged. He finally quit as host in the early 1990s. Take a step back, Don Cornelius. After running Soul Train for more than 20 years, Don Cornelius quit in 1993. They kept him on as executive director, but things were not the same. Hip-hop was the most popular style of black music these days, but Cornelius didn't really like it. Abdurraqib said that the show had a hard time finding its new character after Don left. He told them that none of those hosts were Don Cornelius. Lots of different people came and went, but none of them stayed long enough to make the show feel the same. The heart of it was taken away without Cornelius. It was 35 years since Soul Train stopped, but people still loved it. People could feel seen, heard, and happy on the show. Blanchenois said it showed how black people can be happy in their everyday lives. It was about more than just famous people. It was about real people dancing after a tough work week. It put up neighborhood artists that no one had seen before on a national stage. It wasn't just music either. Actors, writers, and comics were also welcome on the show. Lehman spoke about Soul Train and said it showed something important. TV could be different. It wasn't impossible. It had already done that. For Hanif Abdurraqib, the show was all about simple things. Not much was asked of me, besides, isn't this beautiful? It was true what he said. Cornelius saw that the show and its viewers had changed after more than 20 years. The show lost its spark, and by 2006, it was no longer on the air. The name wasn't dead yet though. There was a new group that came in with big ideas. New people, new dreams. Don Cornelius sold the rights to Soul Train to a business called Mad Vision Entertainment in 2008. Some of the people who work at Mad Vision used to work in marketing and the media. The deal's specifics were kept secret, but it was clear they had fresh thoughts. The first thing they did was look through the Soul Train records. They made a music page for Soul Train on YouTube in April 2009. It was a big change. Fans could now watch old clips online. After a few months, Mad Vision made a deal with Time Life to put the show on DVD. This helped more people find out how great Soul Train is. Mad Vision teamed up with BET that same year. They worked together to bring back the Soul Train Music Awards and show them on Centric, a station that is a spin-off of BET. There were also old shows shown on Centric and Bounce TV. After that, there was another big change. For $11 million, Mad Vision sold Soul Train to a group led by NBA star Magic Johnson and the company Intermedia Partners. They had big plans. They talked about making a movie about the show, putting on a live show, and even starting a cruise. The deal also said that Magic Johnson's station, Aspire TV, would start showing old shows. Soul Train was going to new places and getting new life. Cornelius kept working with them in some ways. In honor of the show, he was in films and special events. Don Cornelius, on the other hand, killed himself in 2012. A lot of people were shocked when he died. Even though he made something great that affected millions of people, his last years were hard. Still, the show he started went on. The Soul Train ship was first offered by BET in 2013. In 2016, Paramount Global bought all the rights to Soul Train, including the episodes, the awards show, and the ship. A lot of people called Soul Train the Black American stand-up. Once upon a time, Cornelius compared Bandstand to himself, but he got tired of it. Soul Train did what he wanted it to do, which was stand on its own. In 1973, Dick Clark tried to make a show called Soul Unlimited that was like the original. With the help of Jesse Jackson, Cornelius said Clark was trying to kill the only TV show owned by black people. Because of the backlash, ABC ended Soul Unlimited after only a few shows. Cornelius's idea had made it through that fight, but in the end, the first Soul Train stopped because of time, debate, and change. Soul Train was still a brand even after the show was over. As of 2016, the show and its brand are owned by BET Networks, which is a part of Paramount Global. That includes the Soul Train Music Awards and the Soul Train Cruises. Even though there aren't any new episodes every week, the show's spirit lives on. Do you believe that a show like Soul Train could happen today? Why or why not? Leave your thoughts in the box below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more amazing stories from the past of Hollywood. Have a nice trip.